Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Another day. Another day in paradise inside.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with us in respecting the social distance by having this call with us. We've been investigating the HOWL and its effectiveness and contagiousness while it was spreading around the country. And we've been interviewing people who have been involved and keep being pointed in your direction as a key player in as how the HOWL got started. Can you tell us a little bit about how the HOWL got started and what your role is in this?
Sure. Well, thank you for asking. So, this pandemic started in China and then spread in various directions, ultimately all over the globe. And there was a point early on when it had hit Europe, and there was a Twitter handle #Solidarity@8, which was showing people in the quaint towns of Italy singing from their balconies, or from larger cities up in high rises banging pots and stuff. And I thought that was, it's really an appreciation for the healthcare workers, which is what Solidarity@8 was all about. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So I had heard other people in various towns, and including our own, that were trying cheering, things of that nature at 8 o'clock. And Kemi King here in town had some stuff going on over in her neighborhood. And I happened to be outdoors one night, and I was listening to these turkeys in the tree near my house, which has been fascinating and fun to watch, a family of turkeys. But whoever knew they lived up in trees? I didn't. But they were gobbling, and I just decided to pretend like I was a coyote, and I just howled at them. And when I did that, somebody across the canyon howled back. And I had just been reading Solidarity@8, and just one thing clicked with another, and I just said, that could be a great way to represent this thing. So I put it out on Nextdoor, let's just howl at 8, and in solidarity with the healthcare workers and other essential workers, what I like to call appreciation for them, and then also in compassion for those that are impacted by this disease. And then lastly, we're all sheltered in place, and it was we're all like a little cooped up, and it was a way to share with people in the neighborhood, or even in neighborhoods nearby, or even across the canyons where you can't see them behind the trees, that, hey, we're all in this together. So that's kind of how it got started. I put it out there. I applaud the community for picking it up, and I think it really is a community effort here.
Yeah, it's been really great to, hear from the grapevine, and then finally full circle to have you here. So we're just really excited to finally close up the mystery and see where it kind of started from.
I should have put a mask on or something, it's like, say a mustache and a nose and glasses, but I already have all that. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a fun thing that's happening here. It's definitely caught on. I don't want to say virally. It's just caught on through the emotional aspect of what a howl is all about. And I felt that, after I thought about it, howling was probably one of the few ways that we could actually really express what we're feeling, which is a deep feeling of combination of frustration, combination of fear, combination of, sadness for those that are impacted, and hopefulness that the people trying to help us aren't going to get this disease. Appreciation for them taking the risk, and it just seemed like a really very emotive sound that kind of wrapped all that up into one thing. And it seems, from people that I've talked to, it's definitely happened that way. Some people are really focused on the appreciation for healthcare people. Others are more focused on the connectedness with the community, and it's all good, right? It's all good. It's to me, we're navigating uncharted waters, and we're trying to figure our way through it all as individuals and all as a broader community. So it's been fun, and it's gone all over the place, which is kind of neat.
Where do you see the Howl moving and shifting in the future?
Well, you know, it's got a life of its own, that's for sure. Different neighborhoods and different communities are exhibiting it in their own way. Even around here, you know, like Tam Valley seems to be a little bit more exuberant in sort of the way they do things versus Homestead Valley or Cascade Canyon, Blythedale Canyon are a little more howl oriented and a little less yell music vuvuzela oriented. Everybody has their own perspective. Where this heads, I've sort of sensed it slowing a little bit as we all start to tire of this. I mean, this is really getting to be emotionally exhausting for everybody, the whole shelter in place aspect. I think that, you know, eventually the shelter in place will be over. We can have a big final howl, maybe stretch it out beyond the 5 minutes that we like to try to hold it to, just to celebrate the end of this whole thing. And then, you know, in my own, you know, wishes down the road, we'll celebrate, or actually not celebrate, we will memorialize the many hundreds of thousands of people that have died or been severely ill from this disease, and that's not going to go away. You know, we're going to have a way in the future to remember all of those people and the pain that we all went through. And to me, a howl is you know, once a year howl in memory is probably a good idea, but we'll see where that comes from. You know, where that goes. That's not something I'm going to look at now. I'm just trying to get through the current situation, like we all are.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, I'm there at 8, and I am sensitive to those in the neighborhood that aren't quite so on board with it. So I think it, you know, like you said before, it's important to remember those that, you know, like their quiet time or their babies to stay asleep.
Yeah, you know, it's not everybody loves the howl, and I just try to encourage people when I hear from folks that it's troubling them to figure out who's in their neighborhood and try to encourage their neighbors to be a little less exuberant, a little more considerate.
Right.
That's you know, that's what we all need to do anyway. We always need to be considerate, but
Yeah.
especially if you're standing out on your front deck howling away at 8 o'clock. The good news is it's only, you know, I said 8 to 8:05. You know, originally it's the howl for 5 minutes because after that that's crazy. It's like 2 or 3 minutes max now. It has its sort of start, and then it sort of crescendos after about a minute and a half, and then it kind of goes back down, and that's good. It's all good.
Can you share a little bit about how the howl got so spread so fast? You said, you know, I was talking to the turkeys, or I was like scaring away the turkeys, and then posted it on social media, and then boom, all of a sudden press gets involved.
Yeah, it was as surprising to me as anybody. I was sitting at home actually working on a jigsaw puzzle one evening, and 7:45 I got a knock at the door from a reporter from a San Francisco TV station with her cameraman wanting to talk to me about the howl. She's like, I heard that you had something to do with this, and so come out and talk to us about it. So I did, and she interviewed me on camera, and several of my neighbors also and stuff. So that kind of got it out there in the press, which then that little clip got moved, you know, sent around to a lot of different places. People sent it to their families in other towns and all of that. Look what we're doing here in Mill Valley. How crazy are we? And other people have picked it up. And, you know, I've talked to Canadian Broadcasting. I've, you know, talked to ABC. I've, you know, had some other print publications contact me about stuff. And I just kind of like, okay, same as I'm doing with you. This is what it's all about, and this is what it means. Some people want to know if it's a unique thing to Mill Valley, and I'm like, well, maybe it's unique that we could start it here because we do have a pretty uninhibited community, right? I think there's probably some communities that might be a little more conservative minded, that they might feel super embarrassed to go outside and howl at night. Mill Valley's pretty uninhibited, and I think that when when we did it, and it showed that it was meaningful, and you know, brought some emotion to folks. And you know, we had healthcare workers, the first time they heard it, they were in tears, and you know, a lot of good, positive, emotional stories coming from that. It's really easy for it to carry on to other places as a result of that.
Yeah, it's very contagious. You see it spread, as you said, in Canada, in the Netherlands. People are doing it all over the world right now. That's a pretty big impact that the howl has gotten for people.
Well, I would venture to say that howling has probably traveled around the world with human howling for a long time. It's kind of an interesting sound. You know, the animals that do it for pleasure, fun. They do it to seek mates. They do it to announce a kill. They do it for all kinds of reasons. It's a communicative thing by critters that don't speak, right? But it does share a certain emotive sense of depth to it. And you know, when you actually go out and howl and stretch it out a little bit, it can be a pretty interesting sound, and you can say a lot, you know, in a sound. It's also pretty fun to start to identify all the different howls. You know, so we always wonder, how do coyotes like to understand who's talking? Wow, we can figure it out now, right? I know when Phil is howling, right, because he's got a very unique howl, and I know the guy up on the hill because he's got a very unique howl. So that was a little bit of a surprise.
Oh, and Beth is home. I can hear her.
Absolutely. And when my wife howls from the backyard, I know it's her. she has her own unique way, which is wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and spending the time with us to complete this howling circle, and we hope that it goes on in good faith. And
thank you. Well, I wish you guys the best in your project, and I appreciate your interest in the howl and support of it. And you know, I thank you. I hope we don't have to do it for much longer. That's I think we all hope that. But if we have to, at least let's all do it together.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for being part of the pack.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Hear you tonight.